Making appointments is hard. People forget them, show up late, or get sick unexpectedly. Now imagine all of that, plus a difference in time zones. You, on the US West Coast, make an appointment for a call with your auntie in Finland for 11, only to get woken up at 1 in the morning. Oh, you meant your 11? Sorry honey, catch you later, bye! It's at times like this that you damn the gods for burdening you with this cumbersome, confusing custom of global time zones. Damn! In theory, this is what time zones should look like. 24 zones stretching from the North to the South Pole at an angle of exactly 15 degrees longitude, based on the prime meridian, that's the one running through Greenwich, London, and differing from their neighbors by regular 1-hour steps. But because this neat little pattern doesn't account for the countries and cities beneath it, time zones don't look like this. They look like this. Countries can choose the time zones they fall into, which is why time zone borders often run along country borders. That might be a great solution as long as you stay inside one country, but beyond it leads to all kinds of confusion and weirdness. Here's a quick taste. Most of Europe squeezes into one time zone, but if you cross the border from Poland into neighboring Belarus, time jumps ahead not 1, but 2 hours. The Line Islands of Kiribati are 24 hours ahead of Hawaii, although they should be in the same time zone, and in 2011, Samoa skipped December 30th to be temporarily closer to New Zealand and Australia, thereby creating a 24-hour time gap to American Samoa right next to it. To add a pinch of chaos to this already complicated situation, some countries don't even use full-hour time steps. India, Sri Lanka, Iran, Afghanistan and Myanmar all have time zones with a 30-minute offset, and Nepal, ever the eccentric, is the only country on Earth with a 45-minute time zone offset. But at least we can celebrate the fact that, ignoring these few outliers, we have 24 time zones for the 24 hours in the day, as a last beacon of logic. Except... If you ever get around to counting them, you'll see that our time zones range from UTC-12 to plus 14, making it a good, even 27. On top of that, we usually don't call time zones after they're offset from the time at Greenwich, but after the places lying inside them, which is why we have over 200 time zone names for the whole planet. Bearing in mind that we haven't even factored in the train wreck more commonly known as daylight saving time, maybe now you're sufficiently convinced that we should end this madness and find a simple, practical solution. How would we do that though? Introducing universal time. Here's how it works. We take the time at Greenwich and instead of adding or subtracting hours to approximate a place's daytime to its solar time, we just don't. We don't? Nope. We all use the same time, no matter where on Earth we are. 8 in Mexico is 8 in Algeria is 8 in Micronesia. The only thing that's different is the position of the sun. So when the sun rises in London at 7, it rises at 13 in Mexico City, at 17 in Hawaii, and at 23 in Beijing. If that sounds a bit confusing, that's because at first it is. Under universal time, 12 isn't noon and 0 isn't midnight. At least in most places it isn't. Bro. That makes everything even more complicated. It's stupid. You're stupid. Let me explain why. Dislike. Unsubscribed. Okay, so why is this idea not half as crazy as it sounds? Because as long as business hours and such are adapted to the time the sun rises, nothing really changes. Your wake-sleep cycle stays the same, you only give the time of day a different name, with the not inconsiderable bonus of actually knowing what time it is anywhere on Earth in an instant. And after a while, having breakfast at 16:30 will be just another normal thing you do. So, could universal time actually work? No one can say for sure, but it does work on a smaller scale, namely in 5 time zones spanning China, which, since 1949, runs on one unified time. For Beijing, that meant no change at all, but in the westernmost parts of China, time suddenly lagged over 2 hours behind. And that, dear children, was the moment China plunged into everlasting chaos. The end. Okay, that never happened. People in the West just adapted their business hours and everything worked out fine. Plus, locals can now enjoy summer sunsets around midnight. We don't even need to invent universal time, because it already exists. UTC, or Coordinated Universal Time, is already the basis of our current time zones and used by all kinds of institutions where a small error in timekeeping can turn out pretty bad. Universal time doesn't solve all our problems. In fact, it only solves one, but with all other things staying equally good or bad, gaining the ability to communicate the time clearly and without even the possibility of misunderstanding, I'd say that's a pretty big win. Alright, I'm ready, let's change it right now. Where can I sign up? About that, I've got bad news. Changing the global time system won't be all that easy. For one, universal time as a standard only really works if everyone gets on board. If only a handful of countries use it, things get even more complicated. And change doesn't come for free. Adjusting the time schedules for every single thing to happen on Earth at some point in the future is a colossal task, and you know very well someone's gonna mess up. This change, however, is one time and one time only, which makes it appear tiny compared to the time zone uncertainty we face every single day. Finally, the biggest thing standing in the way of universal time is you and I. We humans hate changing our habits so much. Why change a system that has worked alright until now? Are there not things much more important than this? Of course we can keep alive a system that leads to confusion, missed deadlines, appointments and flights for thousands of people every day because we're already used to it. But should we? Even if such a big scale change seems nearly impossible, bear in mind that we've already done it once before. Worldwide time zones are only about 100 years old. Before that, cities and towns would literally make their own time. But when trains and telephones started eating up the time separating 2 points, people needed a way to keep track of the time in places that previously took days or even months to reach. And thus, time zones were born. With distances between us shrinking every day, we should ask ourselves, does not a world universally connected need one universal time? End screen. If in order to look good, fresh clothing you search, your quest is at an end, for I now have merch. Shirts, hoodies, mugs and more are now available, so click the link in the description and take a look. If you like this video and want to support me in making more like it, you can do so on Patreon. In exchange, you get access to sneak peeks, scripts and wallpapers, and you can even get your name into these here credits. That's all, thank you and goodbye.